Right, let me just see if I can, oops, mic on. Can you hear me? Let me know. Can you hear me? I'll look in the chat. Yes, excellent. Hi, hey everybody, welcome back. How are you? I'm a little bit less glitzy than I was yesterday, but it's actually quite appropriate because yesterday we were talking about how to create abundance with the moon. And today we're actually talking about a far more serious and somber subject. So I thought it was okay for me to be a little bit more soberly dressed in my traditional black that I like to wear. Here we are, I'll just bring my little star out there. So hello everybody, hello from France. Oh, my people saying my hair is beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to let you in on a secret. I treated myself to one of those Dyson Airwraps, and they're amazing. I just did my hair with the Dyson Airwrap while chit-chatting to my son. I figure I work hard. They're stupidly expensive, but I'm going to treat, it was for Christmas actually, for my husband. So there you go. Hello from Sweden. Jen says she's going to look into that. Yes, look, don't hate me when you see the cost of them. They're stupidly expensive. I did get it at a discount. But I just thought, you know what, I really am over going to the hairdresser. Anyway, I'm not going to digress, but I treated myself because I used to feel like I had to go to the hairdresser before I could go do a live. All right. Okay. The replay is posted already. Thank you. Althea says I'm worth it. Hello to Wendy in Singapore. Hello from upstate New York. Yay. Oh, yes. Happy Women's Day. Yay. It's Women's Day. So yesterday was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I really like the fact that I can see all the comments of yours. Happy International Women's Day. This is secret women's business, although we do let the men find out a little bit about it. Yesterday we talked about, I'm just going to recap slightly. Yesterday we talked about how to create abundance using the moon. We basically talked about that there are four main phases of the moon: the new moon, the first quarter, the full moon, and the last quarter. And, the idea is to tune into each and every one of them in a way that speaks to whatever it is in your life you would like to create an abundance of. Of course, abundance can be, cold hard cash to buy your Dyson Airwrap. I shouldn't keep saying it because it will sound like an ad. I got it at a discount off the internet. Okay. It can be cold hard cash. It could be an abundance of love. It could be an abundance of holidays. It could be an abundance of family. Could be an abundance of whatever you want. And we talked about the fact that there was really an old way to do manifesting, which was just basically to kind of like try and command the universe, I think was how I put it. And then there's also co-creating with the moon and with the divine, and using the moon really as a cosmic timer. And we talked about I think it was 5 really powerful ways to tap into abundance with knowing the lunar phase, setting intentions, using affirmations, doing visualizations, and practicing gratitude. So if you do all that, you will find that your life starts to change. However, the problem is that even though this works, it's actually really easy to kind of scupper yourself and make mistakes, basically related to negativity and self-doubt. So the title of today's session is Release Negativity and Self-Doubt with the Power of the Moon. And I will go into all of that, but I actually just want to make a quick disclaimer for anybody who is on my mailing list. Unfortunately, my highly valued and absolutely brilliant newsletter king, Sahib, sent out tomorrow's email for today. So the email you got was all about doing ceremonies. We're doing that tomorrow. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I'll get to that at the end. But we're talking about today, releasing negativity and self-doubt with the power of the moon. So you know how to send your wishes out into the universe, but the biggest killer of manifesting, the number one thing that is going to scupper your manifesting, no matter if you're on point with your new moon wishes and you overcome the challenges at the quarter moon and you release it all to the divine at the full moon and you do the self-inquiry at the last quarter moon. If you don't believe in yourself, it's not going to be possible for you to manifest. This is a big, big issue. So again, we come back to the main phases of the moon. And I'm going to give you a few ideas as what you can do in advance of doing all the moon work as you go through. Also, you need to work on yourself and you need to work on your self-belief. Now, yesterday we started with the full moon and worked our way around. And I'm going to do that again today because we're still in the full moon phase. But what I want to start off by talking about is the waxing and the waning cycle. Excuse me. Okay. So, because that is also going to be very useful to you in terms of releasing self-doubt. Now, just before we go any further, who has problems with self-doubt? Let me know in the comments. Do you feel that you are scuppering your manifesting because you are not believing in yourself? Okay, so everyone's saying, well, not everyone, but lots of people saying yes. Pepper says yes. Althea, imposter syndrome. Right, Carol, my son and I do. Yeah, okay. So tons and tons of you do. Yes, okay. So that's why I wanted to cover this subject, because the thing is, manifesting works. I know it works. I absolutely know it works because I've been testing this stuff for more than 20 years now. I promise you, hand on heart, I mean, I don't know if I could recreate it in laboratory conditions, but my friends will tell you, yeah, Yasmin is really a really good manifester. And it's because I truly, truly believe in it. And I think that's because I grew up being taught by my parents that what you believe to be true is true for you. And even though they didn't mean it in this cosmic sense, that's, I took it really literally. And also because I did grow up Catholic. I'm a kind of a lapsed Catholic at this point. But I read the Bible when I was about 14, and there is a section in there in the Gospel according to Mark, for those of you who know your Bible, which says something along the lines of, I tell you this, you can ask for anything, and if you believe that you have it, it's yours. And I was like, oh, what? So I grew up really believing that all this is possible, and I know it's possible. And that really helps me because I don't, and I've got my chart, makes me come across as quite confident, and actually to sort of be quite confident. And, I was raised by good parents who told me I was, fab most of the time. Well, not always, but you know what I mean, who basically believed in me and who didn't tear me down. And so I've grown up, probably touch wood, not with as much self-doubt as some people who've grown up in families where, you weren't given the right messages. I mean, let me know in the comments. Do you feel that, your parents could have been a little bit more supportive? Could they have believed in you a little bit more? Or maybe there were things that happened to you at school. I mean, I had my fair share of mean girls at school, but somehow I've always been quite resilient. And I believe that that's helped me eliminate self-doubt to a certain extent, which then helps me in my manifesting. So let's have a look. I gave the universe my inner wounds. Yes. Had amazing parents. Yes, me too. Some people saying childhood trauma, resilience is key. Yes, resilience is key. So, all right. So how do we work against allowing self-doubt to scupper us? Starting off with the waxing and the waning cycle. So the waxing cycle, as I said yesterday, I think, is from new moon to full moon. So it's when the moon is getting bigger in the skies every night. All right. So that's the waxing cycle. The waning cycle is from full moon back to new moon. Okay. So the moon appears to be getting smaller every night. It's about 2 weeks for the waxing cycle and about 2 weeks for the waning cycle. Actually, I remember mentioning this yesterday. The key word that I use for the waxing cycle is intention, and the key word for the waning cycle is surrender. So in terms of working through self-doubt, the basic thing you want to do is you want to go for it in the waxing cycle, and you want to let it go in the waning cycle. Okay, so we are now in the waning cycle. The moment that when we had yesterday the full moon, the sun and the moon at exactly the same degrees on opposite sides of the zodiac, as soon as the moon has moved off that degree to the next degree, then we are officially into the waning cycle. So what you want to do is, now it's not too late to do it because we're still in the full moon phase. At the full moon phase, we talked about offering things up to the divine. We talked about forgiveness. We talked about release. What you also want to offer up to the divine is you want to offer up any self-doubt. Okay. And you can do it tonight. You can do it whenever you like, but there's a few ways I'm going to go into. I'm actually going to give you 6 ways for releasing self-doubt, 6 really specific ways. But, you know, what you effectively want to do is you want to identify where your self-doubt comes from, you know, what your limiting beliefs are. And also there's a little practice which I use, which I've shared before, but I will share again now, which is powerful in its own right, but it also helps us to identify when we are allowing negative thoughts, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs to affect our thinking. Because at the end of the day, manifesting isn't about, you know, magical words. It's not about waving a magic wand. It's not about magic in that way, because really what we're doing is we are creating our own reality with our thoughts. Okay. So that's why, you know, a lot of people will say affirmations don't work, you know, because they're saying the affirmations and not believing them. The whole point of all this stuff that I'm teaching you about is that you need to really release negativity, like we talked about at the full moon, release fears, release resentments, because then you can start to be more of a clear, energetic being. So the little technique that I'd like to show you now is called the dismiss technique. It's the dismiss technique. And I was taught this by one of my meditation teachers many years ago, probably in about 1998 now, which is 25 years ago. So it's 25 years I've been doing this. I've taught it before online. You may have caught it, but not that many times. I've taught it to my family. My husband and son will often turn around to me if I say something negative, they'll go, dismiss. Or I'll say to them, dismiss. So what you do, if you say, just say you're thinking about a new job, actually put it in the comments. What's something that you would like? What's something you would like to manifest? All right, let's go with the first. Okay, the first one, which is a guy, actually, Sebastian, a new job. Okay, so just say you found a job, you've applied for it, you've managed to get an interview, which is harder and harder these days, from what I understand. And so, you know, let's say it's online, it's going to be on Zoom, and you're sitting down and you're just sort of brushing your hair, or, you know, Sebastian probably doesn't do his makeup. Maybe you do, I don't know. Either way, that's fine. But, you know, maybe you're making yourself look presentable, you're doing your tie, or you're putting on your hoodie, or whatever you're doing. But as you do it, you're thinking, oh my God, oh, my skin's broken out. Oh, God. I mean, I don't even know how I got this interview. I'm barely qualified. Ugh, and I'm so bad at Zoom interviews. You know, you start having negative thoughts, anything like that. What you want is a pattern interrupt. So this technique works on 2 levels. And I saw someone saying that they like this technique and they use it ever since I showed them online. So what you do is you put your hand between your breasts, if you have them, basically where your heart chakra is. All right. And bearing in mind the negativity that you've just brought into play, you throw your arm away, out as far as you can from you, with the word very loudly, dismiss. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, dismiss. Excuse my arm. Dismiss, dismiss, dismiss. All right. So it works on 2 levels. For a start, you're plucking something out of your heart chakra, a negative emotion, and we manifest with emotions. So you're plucking it out of your heart chakra, and you are throwing it as far as you can out of your energetic field. Okay, so I'm now having issues about my arms being flabby. I took up boxing on Monday, so hopefully they'll be very less flabby soon. So I'm going to dismiss concerns about my arms not being muscly. Dismiss. They're still flabbing around, never mind. But, you know, that's the kind of thing that, you know, when you have a negative thought about yourself, oh, my arms are so flabby. Dismiss. She said, I'm breaking my top now because I'm trying not to expose myself. But you need to sort of go, you know, dismiss. I'm fine. I find a lot that it's fear that we have to dismiss. Dismiss fear is something I say all the time. Dismiss fear. If I have a fearful thought, dismiss fear. And, you know, the thing is, fear is a killer and it comes from self-doubt. And that's why self-doubt kills manifestation. My arms are beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So people are dismissing anxiety. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Dismiss fear. Yes. Cancel, clear, delete is another one. Someone's mentioning that, Lynn. So cancel, clear, delete. That's a technique that I learned from Doreen Virtue, actually. Cancel, clear, delete. So you cancel, clear, delete. That really works as well. I've always done dismiss and I love the dismiss technique. And I always mention, I do the dismiss technique anywhere, anytime, because I understand it's a pattern interrupt. So on the one hand, it's this sort of esoteric thing where you're pulling it out of your energy field and you're throwing it out of your aura and beyond your aura and out of your energy field as much as you possibly can, taking that negative emotion out of your heart chakra and basically just letting it go. But as I said, it's not just that. That's the kind of cosmic spooky side of it. It's also about that pattern interrupt where you start to look at yourself and go, oh, I've got fear around this. I've got self-doubt around this. I've got negativity around this. Because, you know, the thing is, it would be absolutely wonderful if, you know, there were just these magical tricks that we could do and suddenly everything would just fall into our lap. But the truth is, whenever you're manifesting, whenever you're trying to do anything really kind of tricky and, you know, complex and powerful, like manifesting stuff, you have to work on yourself and you have to understand that basically the world is a projection of your thoughts and beliefs. So if you are secretly sitting there thinking, I'm no good, I've got flabby arms, you know, I'll never amount to anything, my parents said I'm crap, anything like that, excuse my language, then, you know, you're basically putting that out into the universe, and like attracts like. So like unto itself is drawn. So when it comes to manifesting, it's not just about paying lip service and going, oh, I love my new job, but secretly thinking, I'm never going to get that job. I'm too old, or I'm never going to get that job. I'm not qualified, or I'm never going to get that job because, you know, my face isn't going to fit in that company or whatever. You've got to remember, it's what you actually really believe that you are going to manifest. That's why it's so important in the waning cycle of the moon to do all the release work. So we do it at the full moon, you know, and just keep doing it. Keep, you know, do things like, for example, journaling about it and then working out where the fear came from. And then at the quarter moon, you know, do a self-inquiry. How am I doing with that? Am I starting to feel better about myself? And am I starting to understand, you know, often you can heal problems that relate to self-doubt and negativity. You can heal them by just understanding where they started. One of my teachers of healing, a guy called Sir Martin Broffman, who actually passed away not very long ago, sadly, he taught me, he taught about acceptance, which is really the flip side of surrender. It's like surrender, acceptance, whichever you want to choose. He probably went with acceptance because people get the wrong idea about surrender until they actually understand it. So it's about just, you know, accept. And he taught me that when you want to heal something, you have to look at where it began, where it started. All right. So Mark says, what do you say when you are dismissing? I say, dismiss, 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 dismiss. That's all I do. And I'm not sure if I said it. I think I started saying it and I didn't finish the sentence. I do this anywhere. Like, I have done this on public transport. I can't even tell you how many times, because I would just be sitting there and I'll be, chugging along the tube here in London or something, and suddenly I'll think some negative thing and I'll say, dismiss fear. But I won't say it out loud. I'll just do the arm motion and in my head just think dismiss, or say dismiss fear, or say, I won't say it out loud. And I promise you, I have never noticed anyone else noticing what I was doing. It's like you're in this sort of little bubble of invisibility when you do it. Like, don't don't push the theory too far, because if you're too outlandish, somebody might think you're, going a bit crazy or whatever. But overall, people don't even notice it. So someone says, I'll be dismissing all day. Perfect. Michelle, I'm a sociologist. I'm used to doing strange things in public. Fantastic. Okay, Calberto, very good question. What is the difference between dismiss versus repress? Great question. It's not repressing, it's expressing, it's getting rid of it. So it's like, basically, it's noticing, this is fear. Like, just knowing that something is fear will really make a difference to your ability to deal with it. If you know this is just fear, like, I'm not going to sit in fear, dismiss. Whereas repression is pretending that the fear isn't there, for example, or saying, oh no, I don't really even want to acknowledge it. This is saying, oh, that's fear. Oh wow, look at that. I've got fear around this. I've got fear. And it's so easy. Once you start to do it, it will really, really make a big difference. Yes, I'm dismissing my fear, or I dismiss fear. Yes. Someone's talking about, oh, Shirley's crying. Oh, Shirley. It's okay. It's good to cry. It's good to cry. Get it out. Exactly, sis. I'm afraid my eyes are a bit, look it straight in the eye, admit it, and expel it. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So, yes. Now, the other thing I want to say as well is that, so we're in the waning cycle, and I wanted to also say that not only do you work on letting things go in the waning cycle, so we've got 2 weeks of the waning cycle now until the new moon in about 2 weeks' time, also allow yourself rest in the waning cycle, because we can't be on 24/7. And one of the surefire ways to burn out and blow up your manifesting is to, I think Gabby Bernstein calls it manic manifesting. I don't think she works with the moon. She could, because it works really well. But, like, manic manifesting can also be a product of just always being on 24/7. People get confused when they say, well, so what? I just work on my wishes in the waxing cycle and I don't, I just do nothing in the waning cycle. It's not like that. Life isn't like that. We can't all just sit at home and sit on the couch watching Netflix during 2 weeks of the waning cycle, or most of us can't. But what it is, it's about trying to rest a bit more, trying to take a little bit easy on yourself, trying to go slow and steadily towards your goals, whereas the waxing cycle is really about chasing your dreams. Try and find time to rest in the waning cycle. I really wanted to mention that because I think, it's very easy to put too much pressure on ourselves and to be trying to go all the time. But that dismiss thing, you want to do it any time in the waning cycle. All right, so now I'm going to talk about the 5 best ways that I know beyond the dismiss method, which is great because it's physical and I can show you here, Let's talk about 5 best ways to release negativity. First of all, with the moon cycle. So at the full moon, release self-doubt. At the quarter moon, do inquiry. How am I doing with it? How many dismisses have I been doing a day? Am I still doing 20 a day, or am I down to 5 a day? Am I down to 3 a day? Oh, I didn't have to do one today. Do a bit of self-inquiry. When it comes to the new moon, you can make a few wishes. It doesn't have to be just manifesting one thing. And, I used to say make up to 10. Now I say make 3, because that's plenty. Make one of them. I will be more confident, or I will pay more attention to my thoughts. I will be very careful about negative self-thoughts. When I go into negative thinking, I will do dismiss. You can set intentions at the new moon. And in some ways, if you know you really struggle with self-doubt, you're better off spending 1 month working through your fears and just becoming really aware and conscious about when you are going into negative thinking. Because all the manifesting tricks in the world that I could teach you, that I mentioned yesterday, and there are others beyond that, you know, all the tricks in the world, they are not going to be able to overcome if you don't feel worthy. Okay, if you have self-doubt, you don't feel worthy of your dreams, you're not going to be able to manifest. And if your manifesting hasn't worked so far, it's almost certainly because you don't feel worthy of your wishes. And Marsha says, I am worthy. Yay! Exactly, exactly. Oh, I like this from Sue. Co-creating the waxing cycle. Let me just say that again. Hang on, if I can get it up there again. Oh, I can't see it, but something about co-creating in the waxing cycle and then just letting the divine create in the waning cycle. I love that. So the first of these 5 or 6 ways I'm going to give you about more about releasing self-doubt, which I hope I've established why it's so important to manifesting. Number 1, acknowledge your emotions. Okay, so especially in the waning cycle, as you're doing the release work and seeing what comes up for you, acknowledge how you're feeling. Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling neglected? Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Whatever it is. And one of the best ways to work with your emotions, once you've identified them, well, first of all, the moon is perfect for working with emotions. The moon actually symbolizes emotions and feelings in astrology. A really, really good way as you identify your emotions and work with the moon, especially in the waning cycle where we are now, breath work. So I first came across breath work last century through a man called Mark Winter, who used to work with Jonathan Cainer. And he would talk about the power of the breath. And I was like, okay, Mark, that's interesting. Like, we all breathe. But now, obviously, breath work is coming into its own. I just had a week or so in Sedona, maybe 10 days. And, everybody's teaching breath work. I was doing breath work. I did a breath work course here in London the other day. It's so powerful to just breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. And ideally, you want to breathe in for about, say, 4 and then breathe out for 8. I won't teach the actual breath work here and now because there are people more qualified than I to do it. It's very easy to go on the internet. The one breath work I do feel qualified to teach is the alternate nostril breathing, which I believe is actually in my Moonology certification course, I think. Hope so. But you just look up alternate nostril breathing on the internet. We might actually have a PDF about that as a part of this free series, or just Google it. I actually did an amazing session with a man called Zach Rader, Z-A-C-H R-E-H-D-E-R, who does a lot of breath work in Sedona. So I'd highly recommend him if you look him up. But basically use breath work to calm yourself once you know where you are emotionally. It's a really, really powerful technique. And as I said, I think I might have a PDF about that. So acknowledge your emotions, number 1, but also be really specific, okay? Be really specific about your emotions. Don't just sort of say, I feel sad, Think about, why do I feel sad? Where do I feel it on my body? Where is this sadness coming from? Where did it originate? Do I need to cry it out? It's so powerful to have a really good cry. Someone was saying before that they were crying, while they were watching this. It's so powerful. Did you know that when you cry tears of happiness, they've analyzed what's in the tears? They are different chemical components in the tears than when you cry sad tears. Look it up. It's true. So it's amazing. And it's like when you're crying, we're literally releasing stuff. Okay. So, Yeah, be really specific. And one of the best things that you can do to help you be more specific, and again, I'm not going to teach the whole thing here because for one thing, we don't have time, but for another, it's so easy for you just to make a note of it and go and investigate. Tapping. If you don't know what it is, look it up, tapping. If you don't know who to go to, there's a very well-known guy called Nick Ortner who writes for Hay House, as I do. He's brilliant. And actually, I have a friend in Paris who teaches this really, really well as well. She does tapping online. She probably costs a lot less than Nick Ortner for a session. Anna Maria Aischer, A-I-C-H-E-R. Anna Maria Aischer, and she speaks English and French and German fluently, and she will tap with you. But the idea with tapping is you tap into the to these very delicate spots on the head and the face and the body. But the thing why I'm mentioning tapping is because you need to acknowledge your emotions, but then you need to drill down on the emotions and be specific. You know, what am I actually feeling? Where is this coming from? How does it, you know, how serious an issue is it? And when you tap, you actually say, even though I'm feeling really rejected by whoever, and even though I feel like this has been a recurrent theme of my life, and even though it's making me feel so upset, I truly and completely love and approve of myself. I actually missed out the karate chop there, but you know, look it up, drill down, do the work. This is all waning cycle work, okay? Waning cycle work. And a lot of what we did yesterday was really waxing cycle work, well, the more proactive stuff. Someone's saying, can you talk about divine timing? Yes. Everything happens in divine timing. And, you know, divine timing can be, you're not ready for it yet because you haven't released your self-doubt, because you're not going to be able to manifest until you really work on yourself. Okay. I don't want to sound too negative about that, but it's not a silver bullet. It's not, you know, like I said, it's not wave a magic wand. It's work on yourself. And we all have to work on ourselves. And, you know, that's why sometimes it takes a crisis to make us work on ourselves. And in astrology, you know, just so you know, like with the retrogrades of the planets, when a planet goes forwards and it goes backwards and it goes forwards again, and we get 3 passes from one planet to one of our planets or one of the angles in our chart, you know, that's when we're really being given a chance to really work on ourselves, whatever part of our chart it is. All right, so we've acknowledged how you're feeling, be really specific about how you're feeling. And then, you know, 2 more things, one of which I mentioned yesterday, but again, you know, actually, no, maybe I didn't mention it yesterday. It's the age-old thing, and it might seem really obvious, but you'd be amazed at how many people don't do it. Meditate. Just meditate. I did an amazing course with a man called William Bloom, who was one of the original founders of Findhorn, if you've been there, which I went there earlier this year. It was amazing. And, you know, he did a course for people like me who do things like getting up on Zoom and doing exactly what I'm doing now, leading groups. And he did a course on how to lead meditation, which I went to, which was absolutely brilliant. But the thing was, it was such a brilliant paradigm smasher, because I had learned meditation as mantra meditation. So you sit down, you close your eyes, and you say a mantra repeatedly until you hopefully forget it and you float off into the void. And while he is very pro mantra meditation, he released me from this belief I had fallen into, which was that was basically the way to meditate. It's not. You can meditate with a mantra. You can meditate by putting your headphones on and listening to some amazing solfeggio frequencies. You can do what Sonia Choquette described to me as a journeyman meditation, where you just close your eyes and see where your mind takes you. You can light a candle. You can just stare into the candle flame and meditate. There are so many different ways to meditate. You can meditate walking. You can meditate I don't know, with your eyes open, with your eyes closed. There's so many ways to meditate. The point of meditation, and again, this comes back to my meditation teacher who taught me the dismiss technique. You know, she used to say, basically, as we go through life, we have issues coming up, okay? Things happen. It can be, you know, I always use the example of, you know, you're going to work, you're on the tube, and someone beats you to the seat and you have to stand all the way to work, and you've got, you know, someone's smelly armpit in your face. And that puts you in a bad mood, or the ticket seller at the tube is rude, or, you know, someone cuts you off when you're driving, or all that sort of stuff, okay? the point is, little annoyances build up. And she used to, the way, I won't say what she used to call it because it was a bit strange. It's too hard to explain in a short amount of time. But think of them like little knots of energy that end up floating around in your body. You know, when you rush to the dry cleaners and it's closed 2 minutes ago and they won't give you your dress back that you need, or where you're walking along and you snap the heel of your nice new shoes off, or you come home and someone's, you know, scratched your car or whatever. I mean, I don't want to dismiss. I don't want to create any of this. Dismiss, cancel, clear, delete. But you know what I mean? It's those little things and they build up, let alone when you have big things. So what meditation does is it helps you to undo those little knots of drama and upset, which would otherwise sit in you and mess up your manifesting, basically, because it makes you angry or frustrated or sad or disappointed, any negativity, you know, and coming back again to self-doubt. Meditation basically undoes the knots. So, you know, I think that we've come to think of meditation as this kind of worthy thing where we connect with our higher self and the divine, and we really should do it every day because it's the right thing to do if we're on the spiritual path. That's how it's kind of been sold to us. But, you know, think of it like this. Meditation helps you undo the knots. So you're actually doing it for you. Okay, I'm going to keep going quite briskly along. Or someone's saying they've got to do Tibetan singing bowls. Yes, 1,000 times yes. You know, I've got a beautiful little metal singing bowl, actually, I bought in New York. And I hold it a bit lower than here because I want you to be able to see on the camera. But I hold it sort of, you know, right over my heart chakra. And I just like do the sound. And, you know, it entrains your energy. That's a beautiful meditation. Just do whatever it takes to get yourself back in alignment. For some people, it would literally be going for a walk in nature. You know, that can be a walking meditation. All right. Someone likes, Gail likes the thing about the knots. Yes, and we do it for ourselves. It's not this worthy thing that we do to be, you know, oh, I'm so spiritual, I meditate every day. It's like, no, I meditate because it actually helps me. All right, next one. And it's sort of a little bit along the same lines, actually. It's just expanded, is practice self-care and know you are worth it. So that's a really, really important thing. So when we do self-care, so it could be meditation, chanting, yoga, Tai Chi, a beautiful candlelit bath, anything like that. I mean, I always like the one of, you know, sometimes sitting in the car looking at your phone after you've parked the car is self-care. I love that. You know, it's whatever it is, self-care to you. All right. And why is that so important to manifesting, and especially to do in the waning cycle of the moon? Because you are saying, I'm worth it. All right. So what does that counter? That counters self-doubt. So you might have this self-doubt here and you're going, no, actually, I'm worth it. I'm worth half an hour of yoga or an hour of yoga. I'm worth a massage. I'm worth it. So really, really important to make yourself be aware that you are worth it, because it's only when you believe in yourself that you will start to realize you're worth it. And then once you start to move through all this stuff, then your manifesting becomes so much more powerful. And, you know, again, one thing I do teach in the Moonology certification course, which has just come to mind, is working with all the new moons through the 12 signs of the zodiac. So then you can do all this kind of work at Aries. You could be manifesting more courage. At new moon in Taurus, you might be focusing on self-worth. In Gemini, you might be working on your communication skills. So it's all about really personal growth and making ourselves feel more empowered, sorting through our stuff from our childhood or our life, our adulthood, and also about connecting with that part of us, which is our higher self. I'm not poo-pooing the higher self. I totally believe in the higher self. And it's a way of accessing the higher self. But to access those higher realms, we have to kind of move out of all the lower chakra stuff. Okay. And again, the waning cycle of the moon is the perfect time to do all this. And then we get in the waxing cycle. It's like, right, I've done all the work. I've done a lot of work on myself. I might not be 100% clear, but I'm, 65% clearer than I was last month. And really working on yourself. We do, if you're a member of my Mainly Moonology membership, we do the Moonology Manifesting Challenge in there, which is basically taking you through all this stuff. So yeah, so doing self-care, because it, not just because it feels nice, but also because it sends a subconscious message that you are worthy of whatever it is you want to create in your life. Once you know you're worthy, you are, I mean, I don't know the percentage, let's say 45% more likely to manifest what it is you're working on if you actually believe you're worthy of it. All right. And now the last one I put, actually, it's quite a good one. I quite like it. It's a bit funny, but it's very moony. It's actually moon bathing. So to get out every night that you can, even if, like here in London at the moment, it's been snowing today, it's been raining, right now the skies are completely grey and overcast, but tonight there will be some moonlight. Get out there if you can, and just, rug up if you're in London, and take it all off if you're, in Dubai or somewhere hot. Wherever you are in the world, the moon is still, almost full. We're only very short space of time away from the full moon. And moon bathe. Now, why is that good for self-doubt? Because moonlight is really powerful, really powerful. You don't have to take your clothes off. I made a joke on social media today about, moon bathing naked. You don't have to, you can if you want to. Why not? If you're in, Byron Bay or, Sedona in the summer, or, Glastonbury in the summer, sure, take your clothes off. Excuse me, I read somewhere the other day about the components of moonlight and, how it really is actually good for you. And I honestly don't remember the details. I wish I'd written them down. I could tell them to you now, but look it up, why moonlight is actually good for you. On a spiritual level, it's good for you for this reason. And this was something that was explained to me by a fantastic spiritual teacher named George Lizos. He said, have you ever thought, Yasmin, of what moonlight is? I'm like, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh my God, now you say it. Yes, I know exactly what moonlight is. It's the light of the sun, okay, which is masculine, yang, okay, reflected off the moon, which is very feminine and yin. All right, so you've got the yang sunlight off the feminine yin moon, and then you can bathe in it. All right, now why is this special, and how does this help your manifesting? For the simple reason that what it does on an energetic level is it balances you out. Okay, it balances you out. And really what we're aiming for is some kind of balance. All right, that is how you are going to start to release negativity, release self-doubt, and start to really feel in balance with yourself. And that is when you're going to start to become a more powerful manifestor. Now, all this is brilliant, and I hope you are getting it. Yes, Gail says, mind blown. Yay, exactly. I hope you're getting it. So all this is amazing if you can start to what do you need to do? You need to embody it. And that is actually the next issue. That's the next problem that comes up, because how do you embody all this stuff? How do you bring all these ideas down to earth, into your house, into your living room, into your garden? How do you do that? And that's what we're going to cover tomorrow, when we will be covering ceremonies and rituals that you can do in line with the lunar cycle to help you really ground everything we've been talking about yesterday and today, and really start to embody all the practices and all the teachings that I've been talking about yesterday and today. Because without embodying it, without bringing it down to earth and making it real and making it concrete, it's all just intellectual, and you need to bring it down. All right, so I'm really looking forward to talking to you about ceremonies and rituals tomorrow. I'm just looking at your comments. Oh, beautiful comments. Thanks, guys. Oh, thank you, Terry. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. And so someone's saying, I think you're saying are the ceremonies done in the waning cycle? Ceremonies can be done anytime, and they're really powerful. So tomorrow we'll talk about how to embody everything we've been talking about yesterday and today. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for all your beautiful comments. It really means the world to me to have you all there with me. And I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, guys. See ya.